taught me how to live. Daddy taught me how to give. Both of them had their own sins. Down to the river, every man has felt the shame. All our blood, it runs the same. Father, hear us as we pray. Down to the river, down to the river. Sing, oh, oh, bury me, carry me, oh, oh, far beneath, oh, oh, fire and water me, going down deep, singing, oh, oh, bury me, carry me, oh, oh, far beneath, oh, oh, fire and water me, washing me clean, carry sea, creek.
Hi, welcome to the Cryptid Wilderness Research Podcast. I am CWR team member Daniel Becker up here in Anchorage, Alaska, staring into the Arctic abyss. And joining me, as always, my fellow host from Quincy, Washington, Matt Slater.
Hello.
All right, Matt, what's the latest?
Just found some good spots to go to. Just waiting for the weather to clear up enough so I get my truck out there. That's pretty much it.
I just got some new all-terrain tires on my truck the other day, so I'm going to finally be able to get back out with some confidence that I won't end up in a ditch.
Nice.
So back with us tonight from the Cryptic Investigations of Appalachia, based down in Virginia, are Jeff and Andy. They're back for part 2. So glad to have them back with us. And let's bring those boys in and get an update.
Oh, all right.
How you guys doing, man?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
So Jeff and Andy from the Cryptic Investigations of Appalachia. You guys are based down there in Virginia, not far away from Bristol, Virginia, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Not far at all.
So you guys in your research areas, as we were talking about last time, you experienced some heavy storm damage from the last hurricane system that swept through the southern United States. And it put you guys as researchers in a very awkward position in that your research areas were completely altered by the storm damage. Tell us about that.
Well, one of my main spots out at the park that I was going to, that I had a lot of really good pictures back, on the YouTube channel, back on the pages. Everybody can go back and check them out. It was a really hot area, and it was just completely decimated. Parts of the trails were open, parts of the trails were not. It just really wasn't safe to be in there. So I stayed out of it, went back over to another place where I had a lot of X's, and every one of them were destroyed but one. And they built it back. That side of the road dead, so we decided to move across the road and try our luck where we knew the road was open and we could at least get up in there. And that seemed to be the best area that we got left right now that we can get to. Everything else is pretty well waiting to be cleaned up.
Now, have you guys noticed a difference in wildlife presence at all?
Well, that one side of the mountain that I normally stay on, well, I didn't get to go hunting much this year because I'm still trying to recuperate over my foot surgery. But my brother was hunting up there, and the last 10 years or so, it's been more bears in there than deer. This year he found no bear sign at all. He said, he said the last pile of scat that he found, it looked like it was probably made before the storm. And other than that, he said, didn't see no deer, no bears. He's found very little buck activity, rub, scrapes, and all that. So I didn't even bother going up there hunting. Not that I really could done much, but I was really shocked not to hear that the bears, because like I said, they had been getting in to where you'd see 3 or 4 different bears about every time you went up there hunting. So I'm not sure if it had to do with the storm or something else.
Well, I mean, I know for the deer hunting, as far as where I was hunting at, after the storm, they went nocturnal. The only deer I was seeing was young deer,
Yeah.
very young deer. But I could check my cameras at night, and the field was packed full, and it stayed like that all the way through.
Do you guys feel that this major weather damage is going to alter your research patterns or your game plans at all, in how you guys approach your research?
As far as, yeah, it will some. I mean, I don't think we've been in there enough to really know for sure how it's going to affect it. Definitely trying to get into these locations, it's definitely going to affect that.
A lot of the other places that we're going to is on national forest. We're riding down Forest Service roads and parking and hitting trails, and a lot of those trails are, who knows when those trails are going to be open. The only thing that I know that we can do is expand our area and go maybe drive some places that we know is a lot more open space, some places we've not been. There's some places in Grayson County that both of us have been wanting to go to since we got started on this, and we've just not had an opportunity because everything was so close to home. Why should we branch out and go anywhere else when we're having so much luck here? But now with the storm damage, I think we're going to be forced to kind of go look for other places while we're waiting for our home spots to get cleaned back up.
So you guys recently got out in the field a little bit, which is great, and making your way back out there. Did you guys run into any snakes? I got to ask that question.
No, too cold for them.
No, way too cold for snakes.
Yeah, we didn't have to worry about that.
No, that was the last thing on our mind was a snake.
So tell us about your recent outings into the field.
Well, we went on the what I call my side of the mountain. It's kind of an in between my spot and Andy's. It'd been 25 years since I've been back up in there. And I knew from hunting in there before that late season the deer really congregate into that area. So I knew, if they're feeding on deer, they're going to go where the game is. So we made plans and decided to go hit that side and see, what we could see. Of course, we've seen a lot of storm damage. And as soon as we turned out, we went about 500 yards away from storm damage. And we found a really weird looking deer kill.
Hell,
I've never seen.
We didn't see it at first.
No, we didn't see it at first.
No, we had a little incident right before then.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. I forgot about that little incident. Fill them in on that one.
Yeah, it was like, how they get ruts in the road and stuff, and it'll freeze up and everything. And well, we both had walking sticks, and I almost put mine down on that ice. Don't know what I was thinking, but just as I got ready to hit, you could hear a loud tree knock.
Yeah.
I mean, and my attention was drawn one way, and Jeff's was drawn another. Now I had a feeling something was watching us over, be on the right hand side as we was going in, but didn't see anything. Hope we didn't. But we've heard of a few more sounds. You heard a whoop. I heard something. My hearing ain't what it used to be, so I'll hear something, but I can't quite make out what it is if I'm just
an offhanded raven call.
Yeah,
is what we had.
And off down this really deep drainage, whatever you want to call it, we'd actually walked around and was looking down at some of the trees that had come down. This wasn't too bad. It was only like 2 or 3 trees down in there, but we got noticing some arches, and it wasn't just one arch, it wasn't just two arch. It was 2, 3, 4 right there, sort of all bent in together. I really, we had pictures of them. I had pictures of them, but I found out really quick my camera sucked at taking distant shots. You really couldn't make out too much. It was just washed out. You know what I mean? But what caught my attention besides the arches was something down on the ground there that just didn't look like any of the rest. And come find out, it was a deer at one point in time. Just the fur. That's all it was. No bones, nothing but fur.
No skeleton, no nothing.
Yeah. And it was all right and neat. I mean, it wasn't scattered out. I mean, it's almost like the deer was just laid there and skin peeled off of it, and it just, was laid there. But nothing. I mean, no skull, no bones, rib cage, nothing, and it wasn't very disturbed. So, what that might have been, we've been trying to. If it was coyotes, it would have probably been more drug out and stuff left there. I mean, scattered about.
Well, I mean, I've seen where coyotes and bear have found deer, and it didn't look like anything I'd ever seen.
No, and it wasn't, like bear or cat. It wasn't nothing like pulled over on it. I mean, if there was a bear there, he would have made use of some of them logs and sticks and stuff and all the leaf around there.
You could see one spot where it went down.
Yeah, there was a spot right up above it. I mean, probably
just like 20 yards.
Yeah,
game over.
Yeah, and it was just there all perfectly, And
but right across the road up there is where we found those structures on the left-hand side of the bank, just around the corner from where all that started.
Yeah. So we started getting peak interest. I mean, we both had the wow feeling. Being watched, whatever, being observed right before then, and then it just, we kept finding more stuff out on one of this really long, slow grade ridge out through there as we walked on out the road. Big arches. I mean, one, I don't know, I'd call it a gateway or a portal or something. I mean, it was
huge.
Yeah, I mean, the sticks to it wasn't all that like big, I mean, stuff like that. It was about stuff like that, but Lord, that one went about 20 foot up in the air or more.
Yeah,
it was up there. And
then really good shots of it.
There was some other stuff that, was around there and everything, and just trying to take in everything that was going around there. I was like, whoa, this is, more than a coincidence that you got all this going on, and then there's a deer been deceased down right below it.
And the whole time in there, keep in mind, we never seen a pop bottle, a beer bottle, a cigarette butt, a spent shell casing, nothing.
Yeah.
We was the only people that had been back there besides the people that had opened that road.
Yeah. And I mean, all they done was just cut and go. I mean, they didn't even leave no sign of anything.
Going.
Yeah.
I was going to mention, ask about something too. It's like this. All that's left is the deer skin.
Yeah. Fur. Fur. I mean,
fur.
Yeah, we're neither one of us was able to get down there to actually pick up stuff.
Just like this, straight down.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Straight down into a hollow.
It didn't make no sense for somebody to be down there, And again, there was nothing else. If it was scavenged and drug in there, how did it end up there so perfect? As far as it wasn't much wider than what the deer's body would have been. I mean,
no.
Yeah.
It was like it was just wet, like you just took a water hose and just
Yeah. Yeah.
sat there and watched it soak.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
And the weather difference back there was probably 10 degrees colder than what it was on the way up.
Oh yeah.
Because we were busting through little mud holes and stuff like that, looking for tracks. We got up there and everything was froze. I mean, the ground was crystallized.
Yeah, you couldn't punch through it. When it warmed up a little bit,
It wasn't too bad.
down towards the bottom, you had a little give in the soil, but the soil it got cold enough that we wasn't gonna leave no tracks, and if
If we had found anything, it would have been useless.
yeah, because where it just crystallized up. I mean, you can look at stuff and be like, oh, that kind of looks like toe prints, but then you get looking at it, and right beside of it, it's just where the soil had crystallized. So you're like, well, you can't say, that's, now if we found something that was really like 2 or 3 inches deep or something, yeah. But
that was a crazy amount of arches in such a short space.
yeah, and the X's.
I did manage to get down over the bank and take some pictures of them right up close. They didn't look like they was all that tall from the road.
But when I was trying to look at them on those pictures, they were way over your head. I mean,
they
you
were
could
well
reach
over
up
my
there.
head. Looking at them from the road, it looked like it was probably chest high.
Yeah.
I thought, well, man, that's weird to be that that low. Well, I got down there and I was like, oh my, no, these ain't low. I mean, they were way up, and just way they were interwoven was it was crazy.
It was an eye opener. I mean, and then of course we went on out the road a little ways, and we still found stuff, but not quite as much as in that one section there. But as a hunter, and I'm sure Jeff will agree with this, the place seemed like a good spot to.
It was eat up with deer.
I mean, you just could tell. We did find some deer sign in there, some horning and stuff. That's what we call it around here. Watching hunting videos of them talking about rubs and stuff, and then they get talking. Well, down in Appalachia, they seem to call it horning. So
we do, but, we found some of that and a lot of scrapes going up the road, so I knew the deer were there.
Yeah.
So we weren't disappointed. We still got probably another 30-minute walk to really get into where I think's the honey hole.
Yeah.
Back where the wildlife clearings are at.
Yeah.
There's 2 wildlife clearings way in the back. And I think that's where they're going to be.
I don't know.
How far are you guys away from the Appalachian Trail?
Right on top of it, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing of it is they've changed the Appalachian Trail officially how it runs, but we are on a part of the older spur of it. They made it go more, okay, well, with both Troutdale and Sugar Grove.
We're right there within 20, 30 minutes either way, wherever you want to go.
Yeah. But a lot of the, stores, local stores and everything, mom and pop stores and everything, they closed down and everything. So, trail hikers were having to go into Marion anyhow. So they kind of just switched the trail off to go more towards Marion than it was, because it used to come right close through Troutdale over there and out through the mountain. But it's still, these trails out through there, people walk out through there and stuff. But yeah, we're right on top of it.
Now, for the sake of our new listeners who did not catch part 1 with you guys, let's recap a little bit of stuff that we talked about in the first one. Okay. So, your area, do people around there talk openly about Sasquatch, or are they more reserved and quiet and keep it down?
Yeah, it depends on who you talk to, but most of 95% of them, they're ain't a Bigfoot, whatever, but if they see that you're like convicted, like with me, I'll tell them, I don't care. You laugh at me, whatever. This is what I seen. And then, they'll come up to you, nobody's around. They'll be, hey, let me tell you what happened here. I don't know what it was, but,
You get a few of those in there.
like, oh, that's interesting or something. But would they ever told anybody else? Probably not.
Do you think that with the presence of the Appalachian Trail going through that area, do you think, given a reputation that Sasquatch has for observing human behavior, do you think that the heavy hiker traffic actually attracts more Sasquatch to the area?
It could be.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I
a lot
can't
of
say yes or no, but
food left laying around unattended.
yeah.
A lot of backpacks get swiped and get dropped. I'm sure. They'll. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, and just curious.
Yeah.
My first sighting, I don't know what that was about, but the second one, I really do believe it was interested in just us kids. As far as what it's why, but it was intent on watching us kids play. And I've heard that with other stories and stuff about kids, and they seem to be attracted to that. But also, you got a lot of, especially now, a lot of lone or a couple of female hikers and stuff. Where before you used to not have that on the trails. I don't know, maybe there's something there. Be interesting to like. I wish, I don't want to be the idiot sitting down there on the edge of a trail and be like, hey, yeah, had any encounters or anything. But
Right.
at the same time, maybe that's what need to do too, just to kind of find out, hey, okay, 2 miles on down the road down here, they had rocks thrown at them. But
Yeah, that presence of the Appalachian Trail going through there certainly would seem like an attractor to cryptids in the area. Like you pointed out, there's food, and given the reputation of observing human behavior, that would definitely be the spot to do it. Are there any stories in that area about other cryptids such as Dogman?
Not that I've heard.
everything I've heard of is more or less a version of Sasquatch. The one of the things, not right in this location, but maybe 20 miles away or whatever, they got the wood booger. Um, and I know he's a wood booger grill over there and everything. And that's, I never heard of that term before, but there's been a few people, and of course, the hairy man. Now, one of the stories I heard when I was growing up by my own people was they just called it a creature. Be like, well, what do you mean by a creature? I'm thinking, whatever, and they're like, boy, I ain't gonna tell you, you wouldn't believe me. But at the same time, these are the people that won't tell you if they seen something like a Sasquatch or something. It's on TV, and everything. But they was a creature. It wasn't a bear, wasn't any of the common animals, because I went through the list. Well, was it some kind of cat? Was it a bear? Was it a dog? Was it a haint? No, just some creature. And like getting chickens or something like that. But other than like paranormal stuff, there is quite a bit of that around these parts.
Is any of this area close to any Civil War battlefields?
Yeah,
Saltville.
yeah. There's a couple right here local. I mean, Marion and Saltville. Saltville had two battles.
Yeah.
And just on up the road, they was, with. I think it was a battle up there. Not really big.
With County too.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't. They're not going to make the books. It was just little what they would call skirmish, but and then in this same area, going back to the Revolutionary War, there was battles and stuff around here too. Saltville is was the salt capital of the Confederacy. It's a huge, or was a huge salt deposit. They found mammal, mastodons, saber-tooth tigers and stuff over there. I think it may be a woolly mammoth. No, not a woolly mammoth. A woolly rhinoceros. They did find a mammoth, but there's a few other things that was found over there. And I mean, at one time it was, there's been a lot of wildlife come into that area, and I've heard a few. Y'all ever heard the story of the devil monkeys?
I have.
Okay, there is a report of the devil monkey over there. I forgot about it in Saltville, an incident over there where supposedly, chased a car down the road or something and scratched the paint, or well, it dug into the metal of the car. But you know, I talked to some of now the older people remember it, but the younger people don't seem to remember it. But I was talking to them about it.
So, are there any military facilities or any Native American lands that are located near your areas?
Not really military wise, like you would think a base or something like that, but there is, all this area at one time had been Native American.
Settlements all through here.
Yeah, I mean, these burial grounds here that's unmarked, and these some that's known about. And I was helping my uncle one time try to shore up his banks. There's a creek that comes down through there, and we was trying to flip the big boulders over to keep it from washing out the bank. And reached down one day and I picked up an unusual rock and washed all the mud and stuff up, and it's a tomahawk. Well,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was been smoothed on the middle part and smoothed out and everything. But what was really funny, right on the backside, it was this hole about the size of a pencil drilled down into it, or something. I don't know how to do it, but it was definitely the rock wasn't like that naturally. And then over in another county not far from here, there's lots more. It's more suitable, from what I understand. This was more of a hunting area than like they stay in here all. They'd like long hunt in here and then go back out and come back in here. And several different tribes, the Cherokee, the Shoshone. There's another one. It was kind of like the all claimed area.
So, for the benefit of our new listeners who missed part one, let's go back and tell us how you came across your research areas.
Well, mine started, from young child hearing stories from my dad and my grandmother. Of course, being curious. Got up there one time, got entirely too close where I was told not to go, and got politely escorted out. So for years I stayed out of there, and always had that itch, what was it, go back and find out. So I just started right there, really, just kind of more of a personal, didn't have I had no intentions of getting into research at all. It was just more, getting my own answers.
Yeah.
And the more I got into it and started seeing some things up there, I was able to get back into that area without getting run back out. Started really noticing, I like to get into this a little bit more and keep looking, and then come to find out that Andy and I are distantly related, and found out that he had an encounter on his side of the mountain, and then we discovered where they both lie in conjunction with one another. So that's how he and I kind of hooked up together, and we just decided, hey, let's go find out for ourselves what you saw and what I saw. And then we just decided, we watched a lot of videos and everything, just like everybody else does, and there was always talk about the Appalachian Mountains, but it was always away from here, Pennsylvania, Maine.
Yeah.
And thought, hey, we got some stuff going on down here too. Don't forget to take a look down south.
Yeah, it's like one of them things. You want people to know, hey, they're here, but at the same time, don't be migrating in here and all that, and everything, because we don't want a bunch of people, roaming around and everything. They're liable to get shot in these parts if you go on the wrong
Right.
property, especially if you come here speaking a different kind of accent. But mine went from, I had that first sighting of something looking through the window at me. And then, not long after it was when we seen the big manish figure standing at the road watching us kids play. Didn't know what it was. I said it for the devil, sort of thing. And then just going along, having a few things happening. Not Bigfoot, not Sasquatch, or nothing like that. And wasn't until years later. I'll tell you what kind of piqued my interest is, if I can get his name right. He used to write for Outdoor Life, Pat McManus. He would tell some funny tales on there and everything, but there was something on there that caught my attention in one of his tales that was like, wait a minute. And I think it was the smell. I was like, well, man, that does sound a little bit familiar to what I had. And then just, starting getting into stuff and late at night, watch Bigfoot something, what was it, Leonard Nimoy and them, I think
Yeah.
got on the computer one time and looked that up. That was a little bit for my time, but got looking at it. It was like, okay, and then just other stuff that come along, you hear about and everything, and it started clicking to being like, this is Bigfoot stuff, it's the smells, the throwing of rocks, the whooping, the knocks, the rock clacking, and all that. You're like, there's something here. That's what I saw. That's exactly what I saw. And then you try to go, okay, well, I need to see it now. I would like to see it now just to, confirm what I've seen, and you get other people talking to you and you're like, yeah, I can't take you out there and be like, oh, yeah, we're going to see a Sasquatch. You just watch, it's just what, you can go out there, maybe nothing. Then again, you might hear something or you might see something, I don't do it for any reason other than answering my own questions.
And just share the knowledge of what we find, go along. We don't want to sit here and say that this is what this is or this is what this means. We're just taking pictures of what we see that we think's really interesting stuff. Let people make their own determination from it.
Yeah.
Now, the Appalachian Mountains are known for its cave systems. Do you think that these Sasquatch are utilizing those cave systems out there?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, right where we're at, we don't have too many caves. I mean, there's a few here and there, but just
that we know about.
Yeah, that we know about. But a few miles in any direction, you can start running into more caves and stuff. One of the things I was wanting to, the New River, I think it's another corridor for them. Because it comes out of the mountains of North Carolina and runs through Virginia and ends up over there in the Ohio River, and that could just lead whatever in here or vice versa, so you got two highways there for them. The Appalachian Trail and New River around through there. It's a very old river, so it's carved some stuff out.
Do the Sasquatch in your area of Virginia have a reputation for being aggressive or being more elusive, do you think?
I've not heard of anything aggressive, mostly elusive.
Yeah, just leave us alone, basically. It's
you
not
get too close. They throw rocks at you. Something like that. Make some loud whooping noises. I remember one of my favorite places that I was out there researching that got hammered by the storm was, I remember, it was 1984, 85. Was a bunch of people out there partying, out there at the end of the dirt road, hooting and hollering, throwing rocks up the woods, and something decided, and a couple of them went up there to relieve themselves. They would start throwing rocks back. And they said there was about 20 kids running around about half naked in 4-wheel drive trucks getting out of Dodge real quick. So I mean, I guess you can call that aggression.
Yeah, that seems to that's it. I've not heard of anybody being attacked by one. There's a lady. I still haven't got to interview her. She ain't never called. Set up a time to, but she was telling me that she was actually deer hunting and she was walking out this road. And she had a rifle and everything, and it was before dawn. She's trying to get to a place to set up before a shooting line, and she said, without a warning, this thing jumped out in front of her, and it was bigger than her. And she said, I have no doubt that it was a Bigfoot. It's like, well, what'd you do? And she's like, I dropped my rifle and I took off back the other way, you know. And it's like, wow. I was like, did you ever go back and get your rifle? And she's like, I didn't go back until I had, I don't know, a gentleman who was hunting with her. She's like, I got back there and, waited till he come out. And it's like, we need to go get my gun. But she's like, I'm not going by myself. And she, to this day, she's like, I'll talk to you about it, but I'm not going back to that place. I kind of have a vague idea where she's talking about, but if we can look at it on the map, I'll know exactly where it is. I used to work over there, and it's one of them places that we need to go look at too. It's
No.
there's been quite a few people who've had stuff happen over there. I've had my own stuff happen over there. It's just mostly a smell that could never find the answer to that smell, and neither could the biologists and stuff that was around over there, because they first thought maybe it's leak decay and everything, because there's a lot of people smells, and then they get looking in there and trying to examine what might be, can't never find nothing. So, and it's funny you start digging around in there, and all of a sudden the smell goes away.
You got a missing guy from over there too.
We do have 411. There's a guy. It'll be in Saltville. If you ever watch that video, yeah, and it's a strange case because he left his vehicle running, left his stuff in his vehicle. It's almost like he stopped to take a bathroom,
wallet, phone, everything,
and then just boom, gone.
Gone.
So and that mountain does have some caves. It's got some, really rough areas. I mean, straight up and down. It's
extremely snaky.
Something could get in there and hide, and never would be found if it didn't want to be. And maybe it took that guy too. I mean, it's not too far from there was where the other guy disappeared from too.
On the other side of the mountain,
basically, yeah. We've had a few reports of people disappearing down here that they never found, and there's no real explanation of what happened to them. I mean, I'm not trying to get in on Davis Politis stuff and everything, but
he done
it's really interesting. The one that's got me is that guy just his vehicle, boom, gone. Left it running. He wasn't planning on leaving his vehicle. But in that area, I'd have to look at the picture again. I could probably tell you what bridge he stopped at. And if it's the one I'm thinking of, it wouldn't have been much something, just pick him up and take him.
So a lot of people that have had encounters or have been in close proximity to a Sasquatch often describe the smell. We've heard everything from sulfur to vomit to skunks covered in vomit, et cetera, et cetera. How would you describe the smells that you were encountering?
All above. I mean, it's hard to put a description on it, because you can say, okay, it smells like skunk. No, not quite. It smells like somebody smoking pot. No, not quite. It does. It smells like a combination of stuff, but it's on that putrid where your body's reaction to it is, what is that? Instead of somebody let a bad fart or something, or pass gas or something like that. It's more of, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, when we got it up at the top of the mountain on the other side of the road up there, it just hit all of a sudden. It was like Well, for me, it was a stench of wet dog
Mm-hmm.
and laying in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
This had a little bit of a really distinct urine based. It was strong. I mean, it was really strong. I mean, we gagged and dry heaved.
Yeah.
I mean, it just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what happened. I mean, with me, up there at that house, it was one night and went out and smelled the smell. And I mean, you could kind of tell which way to go. You were like, God, what is that? Is that a bear? And no, not a bear. Later on, I smelled what a bear was. None of the animals at that night was raising any kind of fuss or anything. So okay. Well, what is it? My ex-wife at the time, she's like, "Oh, it's a skunk, ain't it?" And I'm like, no, I smell skunks, and that's not a skunk." And just kind of, get walking around and be like, whatever it is coming out of that holler down there. And then it was almost like 15 minutes later, nothing.
We
And
only,
then,
I only smelled it that one up at the top. Then when we got walked off the mountain, I never smelled it again. I mean, even through the bluff charge, 40 yards away from my left, I never smelled anything.
yeah, and
I
then
think the smell was just I don't know. I've heard some of the Native Americans say that they use that smell sort of like same way a skunk does.
maybe,
It's like a defense way
yeah,
of saying you're too close,
yeah.
get away.
I've heard
So,
it's just males that do it too.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's what we don't know. We're not experts, so
Who knows?
But I did have it happened to me a second time, same place, and it was sort of like the same night. It was a little bit of a mist going on, a mountain mist going on. And what it got me to go outside was our goats that we had up our time was running around. And normally at dark they went in the barn. I mean, they'd come out sometimes, they could go in and out whenever they wanted to. And anyhow, I was like, what's got them goats riled up? And anyhow, went out and whoo, there's that smell again. And I thought, okay, let me just walk around here a little bit and see if I can figure out what's going on. And I was trying to get the goats to go back in the barn. They wasn't about to go in the barn. And I'm walking out through there, and I'm like, the hair starting to get going up on the back of my neck closer I get to that barn. I ain't gonna lie, I chickened out and I didn't go in that barn. I was just like, whatever's in there, you better get out of here.
right.
And then, I go back in the house because I'm thinking, okay, if there is something in that barn, maybe I'll blast a shotgun or something up in there or whatever.
We've seen something about that barn.
Yeah, but I went in the house and I did get the shotgun, come back out and got a big old spotlight and everything, and no more smell. It just disappeared that quickly, but it was very strong. But I never did. Didn't figure nothing out. I wish now. Oh well, I don't know. Might have been able to find some tracks or something if it was in that barn with the goat poop and all that laying on the ground, but I doubt it. I know around there it was tall grass and everything. I mean, it's not like up to you, but it was probably about over your ankles. I mean, you might have seen some tracks or something, but you wouldn't have been able to do no casting or nothing like that.
So Jeff, tell us about that bluff charge.
Well, we got up to the top. This was where I'd found the X's at, but long before I ever knew what I was looking for. We walked up to the top and we was finding a few tree structures and things like that. And we really screwed around and got up there too late. We just got to the top to where you can kind of like, take a breath, take a look at the scenery. I got to look at my watch and I said, man, it's going to be dark before we get off this mountain. And, guy I was with, was kind of joking, said, yeah, so glad we got flashlights. And then it was just that smell. It was just like right up in your face. We stood there and kind of dry heaved a little bit. And he said, we got to go. He said, we're too close. And he said, I know what that smell is. He said, let's go. So we took back off down the trail. And like I said, it took us 2 hours, about 2 hours and 20 minutes to walk up it. We turned the corner to come down, and I could hear something over to our left, down over in the thicket. And I said, well, whatever it is, I said, it's straight over here to the left of us. So we took off down through there, and it was just like all of a sudden, it was like somebody just started driving a bulldozer. I could see the laurels coming like that. And, and I just immediately, put my hand on my pistol, and I was just like, think no. We just kind of froze for a second, then it stopped, and then we kind of gathered our thoughts for a couple of minutes and took off down through there, and it followed us from the left side. It followed us all the way down. Then we had another one come in from another hall on the right and followed us all the way down within, I would say, 100 yards from where the bridge cut across to go to civilization, all the way down. You could hear stuff popping, and you could hear a grunt. It was definitely keeping up with us, and it took us 45 minutes to come off the top of that mountain.
Yeah, that's saying something. I've been, that's a long trail to come off, and come off it in 45 minutes. It's boogieing it.
And we didn't run. You couldn't run. I mean,
no, you couldn't run.
No, they ain't no running. I mean, you can forget it, because there was a lot of little streams that run across the path, and a lot of rocks and things like that. They wasn't no running.
Yeah.
We just had to walk as fast as we could and pray the lights didn't go out.
Yeah. Let's go to the Pacific Northwest to Matt Slater.
Yeah, with your research area that you went to recently, when you saw the remains of that deer and all those bent trees over, have you considered going out there at night or setting up trail cameras right in that area?
Oh, well,
trail cameras, and I just don't think they'll work.
No, I agree. I mean, I think it's that, you hear it. I remember this is way before lithium batteries ever got big, but I remember, hearing from biologists and stuff that bears can smell the plastic. They can smell the batteries, and of course the lithium batteries, and they said, well, from what study shows is, these plastics and stuff smells like ants to them. So I'm like, okay, well, if a bear can smell it, I'm assuming Sasquatch has a tremendous amount of smell. I mean, smell, it can smell good. And plus, okay, let's get into the other, can it see ultraviolet and everything? Yeah. I think that's why even before we got the technology of memory cards and stuff, the game cameras used to be film. Nobody ever got nothing on that either, So it's just not one of them things. Nighttime, I'm a little bit interested in nighttime, but after we got charged, but we was doing some stupid stuff at the time too, hooting at owls, and I don't know anymore, because like I said, we talked about my night vision stopped working, and that was what I'm good, and everything, and it just went, okay, now we're in trouble, because we can't see whatever's out there can see us. So
right there where we're at, if to get back to where I wanted to get to, but we just ran out of time. It's a 2.5 mile trek, and there is nobody coming in. Nobody. I mean, if somebody was to fall back there and get hurt and be able to get out in 2 miles, by the time they go out and go get help, go get somebody to open the gate and figure out what they're going to allow them to drive up in there to get you, you're going to be laying back there for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, maybe more than
that. At least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's places that we want to go and hit at night. Of course, there's several places we want to go. But, doing it safe, of course, going to be number one, because he just had foot surgery. I've had 2 knee surgeries. So neither one of us need to really be out doing a whole lot of finding Bigfoot stuff at night in the condition that we're in.
Yeah,
We ain't got a camera crew there to go run and get help for us or a medic on standby.
Right.
he could be the next guy that gets carried off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's places there we definitely want to go because we got parabolic mic, we got FLIR. We're looking at adding a drone for 2025. I've got my eye on one right now. I'm looking at. We want to learn how to operate our little cheap ones before we go taking the good ones out in the field.
Yeah, I talked to somebody about maybe just coming in with a drone that had the thermal on them and just kind of do like a flyover in areas, just to kind of see. And man, they was wanting way too much for that. I mean, I get that these drones are not cheap that they're using, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I don't have that kind of money just for you to tell me there's 2 deer and a bear there, So we're a small operation, but we're trying.
Yeah.
We're working on it. We're working on getting us a couple of bikes. To make our walk in there. The walk in there is not hard. It's just a gradual uphill, and it just drags out. That's the only place that me and him have both been that when we come out, it felt like it took forever to walk in and 15 minutes to walk out, and our legs were jello.
Oh yeah, I'm still that's pretty bad, but
my legs, I couldn't have walked another 20 foot if I'd have had to.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, but going in there the walk is easy. There ain't no real hard grade to it.
Easy.
Now you come in on that one side, it's pretty steep, but it's still ain't too
never going back in on that side.
Coming off that side would be a lot better than going up that side. And then some of these other places, what I want to do is try to get in
sides, then meets up like this at the top.
Yeah. And some of these other places, what I'd like to do is just try to walk the road towards dark one night. Park the vehicle at one spot and just walk out so far.
Places over, like I said, there's another place we want to go. It's have to get a 4-wheel drive to get up in there to get to it, but some people had some rocks thrown at them up there riding horses. Mm-hmm. We want to get on that side, and there's a lot of Forest Service roads over there. We can stop at night, put the parabolic mic out, turn on the FLIR, see what we can hear. Mm-hmm. Try to find somewhere over there new that we can research while we're waiting on everything else to get opened back up.
So guys, before we close, and again, for the information for our listeners and viewers who may have missed part 1 with you guys, and again, there's no wrong answers. What do you guys think these creatures are?
Take it off, Andy.
I have no idea what they are. I'm used to lean towards a smart ape. I'm not into that anymore. I don't think it's just one type of species of them. I was kind of talking to Jeff about this. There's too much different descriptions of them. I mean, okay, we got the large, hairy ape-looking thing, but then you got some that's supposed to have a snout, more of a snout, and long, stringy fur or short, not fur, hair, and then just the descriptions vary so much, but the one thing that seems to be constant is how big they are, and the smell and everything, so I don't know if we're dealing with, something that's come from not around here or something that is evolved that's, beyond what we can comprehend. It's still from this planet, from this dimension. It's just, I guess what my mind is thinking, we think we're the apex of evolution, as far as man goes. Maybe we're not, Maybe this is the creature that has learned to live without fire. and it's just I don't need fire. I don't need why not to get into all the religion and everything, but let's just look at it scientifically. If we evolved from apes, we lost all of our hair. Why? And maybe this thing's like, okay, I'm not going that route. I'm going this route, and it has abilities that we think is just bull crap. But if you ever, have been a witness or whatever to uh, their telepathy or their infrasound, you learn that this is something it's different from us, but it's not stupid by no means. I mean,
No, we're not
told
stupid.
they don't aspire to go to the moon, so to speak, and build a rocket, but I'm not sure what they are.
I want to go with a human hybrid of some sort. And the only reason I think that is if they've been around, I remember Leif Erikson spoke about seeing hair-covered giants along the shore in his book before Columbus ever come along. So if you've got something dating back that far, that tells me that they've always been here. And they've learned how to stay away from us and only let us see them whenever they darn well decide to. And it's hard for people to wrap their minds around something to exist that we can't find because they think we have all this technology, we have all these cures for all these diseases. We could be able to find this, we could find that. Why can't we find this? Maybe it's not because it don't want to be found.
Mm-hmm.
You have reports in the Smoky Mountains, in the Smoky Mountain Park, of feral people. I mean, those stories are older than Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that there's no feral people living in the Smoky Mountains?
Yeah.
Not everybody can be wrong.
Yeah.
But not every sound in the woods is a Sasquatch. Not everything is, something that goes bump in the night. It's not automatically a Bigfoot, but don't automatically necessarily mean there's not something out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just think it's got to be some type of human hybrid that's learned to adapt to its surroundings, however it survives, cave systems, underground somehow. I just think that there's something out there living besides us that's a heck of a lot smarter and doesn't need any of the nonsense that we got to live.
Yeah.
But people just can't wrap their minds around that. And like I said, it's all opinion. And I followed a lot of Scott Carpenter's stuff before he passed away, and I still watch his videos on YouTube. I still have got some books of his that I want to get, just because I find what his thoughts and beliefs were is kind of along what I found, not just what I believe, but the stuff that he said, that I would find in these areas, I've found. So far, he's the only person I've been able to back up what I found. So, I take a lot of credibility with that. He talks about, he thinks there's some type of Nephilim. I don't know. Fallen angel of some kind. There's a lot of people believe that there's, that's talks about that in the Bible, fallen angels that, had been with women and reproduced these giants and things like that. So, I don't know. I don't think anybody does. That's why we're out here doing this.
Yeah, we always say if anyone tells you that they know for sure, then they don't. That's the general rule. That's the general rule.
100% there, man.
And if anybody can tell you that I can take you out and show you a Sasquatch, they're full of bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I mean, we go out here and I think down deep we're hoping to get to see them, but at the same time it's if we don't, okay, we had a good time, we got out, we found some interesting stuff, but at the same time I don't feel like when you go out it's a letdown.
I think back there where we're at, I think if we get back there before spring one more time, I think we're going to find something really good. It wouldn't surprise me if we have anything, it'll be back there. I mean, I just think it's right in the heart of both of our areas, and there's got to be something. There's got to be something in there.
Well,
It's a matter of
Tim,
finding.
I need to find exactly where, if I can find somebody who's old enough to remember. But automobiles and stuff traveling over here is well, really. Uh, not a lot of people had automobiles back even in the 40s around here. You know, it was still walking and horseback riding and everything. And there's a trail somewhere that connects my side of the mountain to his side of the mountain. And I know kind of we're on my side of the mountain, and I think we're really close on his side of the mountain in that area that we went to. Because I know there was a lot of talk about that one spring coming out there, and there was some, tales of stuff happening there. People being followed by something every time they walked, it stopped. And
We did manage to find the springs.
yeah,
There's a ton of water back there. I mean, just
yeah.
a ton of water. But back there, I guarantee you, when the leaves are thick, you won't be able to see 10 feet off the road.
Oh no, that's the thing. I mean, we don't, like I said, there ain't a lot of caves in this area, but we have some big thickets of laurel and rhododendron, and you know, I know there's a little creek that I used to do native trout fishing for. Man, you have to get on your hands and knees and crawl through there. And I mean, it's rough. Then you're like, is it worth it just to get back here? So imagine what could be staying in those areas. And like Jeff said, they could be could be caves that we don't even know about because it's just too thick to get to.
We got probably 4 miles of in between my side of the mountain and his side of the mountain that we hadn't even touched.
Oh yeah. And then there's this
all brand new area.
Yeah, and then there's some area just, I mean, less than a mile away that we ain't even touched.
No,
because the access to it ain't, in the shape we're in right now. Our access, is pretty limited to roads and pretty small, smooth trails, I should say. But hopefully we can get around to getting in there one way or the other. Whether it's a drone or I've often thought about if we can scare them off, getting like a dog or something, let it run through there with a camera and everything, just to see. But be my luck, that'd be the thing that'd piss them off, and
Well, the amount of bears back there, that's another reason why I didn't want to even try to think about putting the camera back there. There's just a ton of bears.
Yeah.
Certain times of year.
So the
want to put out there for bear food.
Oh, right. So the weather alterations of your research areas presents a lot of challenges, but also new opportunities and new adventures for 2025. Yeah. So we're looking forward to hearing what you guys got in store for the future in your future research. Before we close, let's go back up to Washington State with Matt Slater for final thoughts.
There we go. Yeah, I know the hurricanes have damaged that area up there a lot. But it sounds like you do have a really good spot around that mountain. And I look forward to hearing all the stuff that you find once you're able to get all the way back in there. And the information about that old trail sounds intriguing for sure.
Yeah. We know where the spring is.
Yeah, it's I'm just trying to think back on listening to tales from my grandfather and my great grandfather. They lived on that mountain a lot more than I did. Well, my father did, but Dad was one of them types that didn't really get into anything. If it was, he had to see the body, so to speak, for him to be like, but it's going to be interesting. And I mean, we talked about the trees. But one thing we hadn't talked really about is how all that water that come through there changed the direction and flow of the streams and stuff. I mean, there's one place I went walking to deer season, and the amount of rock that it moved in that creek was just I mean, there was places in there it piled rocks up probably 6, 7 foot tall. That was, I mean, there was nothing there. It was just a smooth creek bottom, and now it's like been deluged with rocks and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, what kind of sign can we find? Are we going to be able to have like a sandy place? Maybe possibly be a footprint, or is it just going to be all rocks for a long while? And not really need to be paying much attention to those areas where I was like, we'll walk down a creek and looking for, okay, there's a footprint here, or something, and I know a couple of beaver dams
forever to go in there and scout all that out.
So that was like,
especially where all that road and stuff got washed out. It'll take forever to go in there and scout that out.
Yeah.
But we got a long way to go in there, but we'll definitely be back in there.
Oh yeah.
Bet on that.
Shall we tell them about the incident before we go?
What, the stick?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. As I said, we both had walking sticks, right? Now, Jeff had a good old-fashioned heavy-duty walking stick, literally wood, and I have the newer, aluminum pole and everything. So we're walking up through there, and we come to a spot, and I got my camera in my backpack, so I take the backpack off, and I get the camera out and lay the stick down. And I take a few pictures, we move along, pick the backpack up. On out there, I realized, hell, Jeff, you know what? I left my damn stick laying back there. I'll get it whenever I come back, because we're coming back that way, Well, we go out there, look around, take a few more pictures, look at arches and stuff that are out there. And, we was out of sight of where it laid down by the bend in the road. So we couldn't see out that way too good, but we wasn't that far away from it.
200 yards tops.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was that, but yeah, I mean,
yeah,
bend in the road is basically what kept us from looking at, we come back, ain't no damn stick laying in the road. Now, he was looking and I was looking. That stick was not there.
And it was that far blaze orange on one end.
I mean, it was notable. It's not like we're going to walk by.
Like y'all shirts, it's just like your shirts.
Yeah.
And it was gone.
Yeah. So what happened to that stick? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying anything, but I do know I brought the stick in. I did not bring the stick back out.
And there's no way we walked back. No way.
No.
We would have tripped over it.
That's what I was thinking, because I took the pack off in the road. Either which way, we would have both seen it, or one of us would have seen it.
Because the road wasn't rode up. The road wasn't rode up. You couldn't.
Oh no, you could take a car out there easy. I mean, that the road is actually good enough. You could probably take a car.
Yeah.
An all-wheel drive car. That's how it ain't got no big rocks or nothing in it. I mean, it'd be better to have a 4-wheel drive, but where did that stick go?
Well, that was right there when you popped your finger in your mouth and made that loud pop too.
Yeah, that was another thing. I was trying to give them demonstration, about how okay, this theory, is it a wood knock every time, or is it or is it I heard them two slapping the ground, and just slap it real hard, or a chest beat and everything.
That was right around the corner from where we had something walking around us too.
Yeah,
it was right there.
So and like I said, we go back to that. I had a feeling we was being watched, and I don't know if something run up there and grabbed that stick, or I don't.
It wasn't there. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's the point we was making. Something went in there, and when we come back, it was gone, and they was nobody up there with us.
Nobody.
They was a couple of people way down at the end of the road, a work crew, but they was stayed at their vehicle the whole time.
They was there when we went in, and they were there when we come out.
And the only thing was, one guy had got out of his vehicle and was standing over there leaning on the other guy's vehicle.
Yep.
You could tell these dudes wasn't about to walk no more than 10 feet. They was just, I mean, they wouldn't nobody come up there and got that stick. I don't know.
As much as we was looking around behind us, we'd have seen them coming up the road.
Yeah,
there's nowhere for anybody to hide.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying that we was when we got into that crystallized soul or ground. You could hear us crunching, and we was up there at that. So if you got something heavier in there, and I mean, to me, it would have had to been some kind of noise made, but nothing.
No,
I don't know.
they wouldn't know sound of nothing up there but silence.
Yeah, so there's one for you.
That's a great story. That's a great story.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll try to update you if we ever go back. If we go back in there and it sticks there and it's like leaned up against a tree or shoved up in a tree, we're gonna call and let you guys know that. It'll be like we found the stick, but you ain't gonna believe where it was.
I don't think we're gonna find it.
I don't either, and I don't know what I do if I do.
I got a feeling where it'll be.
Jeff and Andy from the great state of Virginia, from Cryptic Investigations of Appalachia, thank you for joining us for part 2. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. We know it's getting late there in the East.
Our pleasure. I mean, thank you for having us. We don't know. I don't know if we convey enough how much we appreciate y'all having us on here.
Absolutely.
You guys are always welcome here. So we'll definitely have you back in 2025.
Absolutely.
So
have Merry Christmas, IR.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you guys. And a special shout out to our new listeners on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We're so glad that you're here and with us. And for myself, Daniel Becker, up in Anchorage, Alaska, staring into the Arctic abyss, my partner down there in Quincy, Washington, Matt Slater.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.